Kida explain maybe his expectations. He's a member of the NRM representing Kabwedi County, and many of the members of the NRM are real focused on implementing the ideas that have been well laid out in the NRM plan. Honorable Patrick Wakida joins us this afternoon from Kabwedi County. Many thanks for joining us. You're live on NBS TV. Many members of the opposition have boycotted the State of the Nation address. You as NRM looking forward to implementing what is in the manifesto of your party. What are your expectations today?
Well, NRM has got a manifesto which has got a foundation on which they want to build on. The ATMs, the four main sectors that we are going to be focusing on: industrialization, agro-industrialization, manufacturing, tourism, and science and technology, and then poverty as a fundamental issue.
We did a roundup of news just looking at some of the pledges that had been done in the last 5 years on the State of the Nation address. The people in Acholi, in Lango, they say these promises come year in, year out, that they remain the same. Nothing really fundamentally changes. Should they have hope in today's address?
If you look at the theme for this year, it is saying a leap to a qualitative change. Qualitative means that you have already achieved the quantity. If you go to each of these districts, you will find roads are being made. You will find health centers are being made. You are going to find UPE, primary schools in place. What is missing is to make those infrastructure work for the people. If you look at the poverty indices, it is true, not so much poverty has been reduced. But you see, poverty is deep in our society. You do not expect it to change within the next 3 or 2 years. If you look at the strategy that the government has, the tenfold strategy, is for 2-3 years.
Thank you, Dr. Wakida. Looking forward to today's State of the Nation address. Well, the expectations are high, especially for the Ugandans. I think the most fundamental question they're asking is what is in for them. Back to Tracy at the Political Command Center.
Many thanks, Kanari Mugume. We'll certainly be getting back to him later on. The president is expected to have the State of the Nation at exactly 2 p.m. and so we'll be getting back to Kololo later. But in the heart of the issues that the people of West Nile would like President Museveni to address is the creation of a ministry specifically to handle the region's challenges. Made of 12 districts, 2 municipalities and 1 city, residents believe that the region is too large and the West Nile Ministry would help address its challenges in infrastructure, high rates of poverty and bargain for political officers. I'm now joined by Joseph Omogo, our bureau chief in West Nile, to extensively talk about the expectations. Joseph.
As Ugandans are prepared to listen to the head of the country deliver his annual State of the Nation address, the people of West Nile are hopeful that finally the West Nile Ministry will be created in order to handle the region's diverse challenges.
West Nile of 13 local governments will have a regional status of its own. That we request from the president when he last addressed at the university, and he promised that he will grant us that status.
A sub-region of 15 local governments, including Arua City, Nebi, and Koboko municipalities, and 12 districts. West Nile has for long been rated as the second poorest region in Uganda, and this concerns its people.
Anything which government is going to do for West Nile, minus recognizing us as a separate region to give us our own ministry, will be tending towards a raw deal.
We first of all thank him so much for establishing a skilling hub in Zombo. But looking at West Nile as a region, West Nile is big. So you find with the skilling hub in Zombo, it is hard for people from Arua, from Koboko, Yumbe, and Jumani and other parts to go and get these free skills.
Besides the high levels of poverty, also on the priority list for West Nile is the poor infrastructure in the region, the need for industries to utilize the abundant electricity and employ the idle youth.
If you look at the road infrastructure, the issue of Akwachi Bridge is very key. Once that bridge collapses, I can tell you this region will be completely cut off.
They also want the president to provide more programs for the women who are seen as the pivot of development in West Nile.
By opening more avenues for women to get their own access to what? To money.
There is belief in the region that the health sector is overwhelmed by the presence of migrants, refugees and asylum seekers from the neighboring countries of South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo, and thus the need to have Arua Regional Referral Hospital elevated to a national referral hospital.
To look at health, as Arua City now have the blood bank.
However, the people also request the president to address why the whole West Nile only has one skilling hub in Zombo district and a demonstration farm in Giligili.
His Excellency the President had requested Arua City to give him a land. We have given His Excellency land. The President has a farm in Giligili. This demonstration farm is for all West Nile.
In terms of security, the safety of the business community across the two international borders is seen as paramount, and more deployment is needed in urban areas like Arua City.
You are watching the State of the Nation Address special broadcast. That is what we're paying attention to. Leaders and residents in the Kigezi sub-region want the upcoming State of the Nation Address to tackle poor road infrastructure, health sector challenges, delayed payments to tea nursery bed operators, and high poverty rates. They say poor tourism roads continue to affect business and visitor access, while delayed payments and poverty are undermining livelihoods across the region. To further tell us of the plight of the people of Kigezi, we're now joined by Lukia Nantaba. Lukia, very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get into the details of the needs and wants of the people of Kigezi.
Very good afternoon, Tracy. With just few minutes away to 2 p.m. where we shall be seeing His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni addressing the nation as we kick off the financial year 2026-2027. One of the key highlights the Kigezi sub-region people would wish to hear or continue to remind the President is the issue of the tea nursery bed operators' payment. This has been there for years since 2023. We've seen tea nursery bed operators continue to raise complaints over their payments, which has taken a bit long, like around 4 years. And we saw that it was also raised in Ntungamo. It was as well raised when the president was here for his 2026 campaigns. But up to now, the nursery tea bed operators continue to raise alarm over their delayed payments. The other key issue is the issue of the health sector, whereby the Kigezi sub-region seems to be recording high number of cancer patients. So the leaders and residents are calling on the president to ensure that he talks about having regional hospitals, whereby even Kigezi is also asking for more a regional hospital, because we only have one hospital which serves 6 districts that do undertake the Kigezi sub-region. The other key aspect that the people of Kigezi are awaiting to hear from the president is the issue of the iron ore factory, which was also pledged during the 2026 campaigns when the president was here in Rwanda district. But they await to hear from him what plans does he have for the Banyatigezi in as far as the iron ore mining is concerned, because Tracy and our viewer, Kigezi is well known to be one of the districts or one of the regions to have a lot of iron ore here, but due to lack of the factory here, we have always seen the iron ore being taken to Tororo for the final mining. But that has affected greatly, especially for the artisanal miners who said they no longer work because of that. So they are hoping that they would have that factory. But Tracy and our dear viewer, to take you through of one of the people that talked about the expectations, we have the chairman LC5 for Rwanda district, that is Stephen Kasiaba, as well as the Rwanda LC5 Ruchika district, that is Simon Rwamagenda, to take us through on what they expect from the president. Let's listen into what they have to say on the matter ahead of the State of the Nation address.
in our referral hospitals that we have and regional hospitals. As a region, when I was reading, I noticed that we have a lot of cancer patients in Kigezi region, and we are yet to make research why we are having a lot of the cancer patients from our region. So we would love him to also talk about the health sector by building more hospitals and empowering our doctors, our scientists, to see that every health center, 3 health center, 4, at least it should have a doctor.
Is the money for the roads. Now, the cost of making roads in Kigezi sub-region is much higher than the cost of making roads in other regions, given the terrain of this place. All of us are receiving 1 billion to maintain our roads. And you see what it means to make roads in this region compared to other regions where land is flat. Then the third one is the emergency money, the money that remains at the center. Disaster is at local government, but the money is at Prime Minister's office. You see, those of us who are in these hill areas, we are in the same situation like Ibududa. When people are washed away, to respond to these people is becoming a problem. We are failing to get response from the Prime Minister's office to support our people whose houses are washed away, whose land is washed away, whose gardens are washed away. Actually, even some of them lose lives. So then the last one is the poverty. While we appreciate the money the president is bringing to the people, that's PDM, UAP, youth, PWD money, but I think that this money should be increased. Because when you move around, when you are doing monitoring, you see that there is something that is being done. So I will expect the president to tell us whether he is going to increase this money that is going to the people per parish, 100 million to increase to 200 million, so that we can have a bigger population receiving the 1 million to eradicate poverty.
Tracy, you've heard from the leaders. Those were the LC5 chairperson from Rubanda and Ruchika district. We are waiting to hear from the president as well. We shall following the proceedings on our NBS television live. They will be aired live as we listen in. And our dear viewer, we promise that we shall be back here to give you the details to see whether you expected has been addressed by the president. That is at exactly 2 p.m. Let me get back to you at the Political Command Center, Tracy.
Many thanks, Lukia Nantaba, joining us from the Kigezi sub-region right there. Now, as the president is set to push again for the full monetization of the economy, the key aspects that certainly Ugandans will be looking forward to, particularly addressing. First, it is the fact that they will be looking at what has worked, what has not worked from the president's previous commitments in the last year, but also contextualizing the conversations around the Chisanja no sleep and Chisanja no corruption. Certainly be looking forward to what the fight against corruption has so far yielded in terms of the ongoing probe into the former Speaker of Parliament's charges, or if they're going into charges, the developments there within, but also in terms of the grand picture, what exactly the fight against corruption continues to look like. That will be on many Ugandans' minds, especially because you're looking at about 10 trillion shillings being lost in the corruption that is continuing to be an impediment, or at least a bottleneck of some sort. We want to also check in with the people of West Nile. In the heart of the issues that the people of West Nile should or would like President Yoweri Museveni to address is definitely a creation of a ministry of that case. But before we get into that, I am now joined by Joseph Omagor, who joins me now from Arua. Joseph, many thanks for joining us. The president will be speaking to the nation in just a bit. There are certainly key aspects of that address the people of Arua will want to address. What could those be?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me too, Tracy. And let's start by having the facts correct. 81% of the people here in West Nile voted for the NRM government. And that is why I think some of the things that I'm going to tell you from West Nile here are very prominent. One is that this region is in need of a ministry that is in charge of its affairs. Just like it is in Teso, just like it is in Karamoja, Luero, they want a ministry specifically for West Nile, because the poverty rates here, as it is well recorded, are very high, and it is noted as it is the second poorest region in the country, and these people want this fixed using a ministry that is specifically for West Nile. The issues are, one is restocking of the animals that were stolen during the insurgency here, and then also the compensation of ex-combatants in this region. Then we have the issue of infrastructures, which is a common one in the city, in Arua, in the municipalities of Nebi, Koboko, in the different access places, and also in the border points like Vura, Lia, and Odramachaku. All these people, all of the people of West Nile want is to see that the infrastructure is fixed. Now, with the coming of the .com era, of course, we have got a new threat, security threats, and of course, the issue of cyber security is also coming in now. Recently, we've had a rise in the insecurity caused by people who are scamming and conning money from people of West Nile, and the police have said that they have noted a rise in this, and this is one of the sectors that they want to be fixed, so that the people are safe to conduct business from wherever they are online. Let me give you this video to have a look at and hear what the people of West Nile have to say, and the police as well.
Indeed, as police from West Nile region, we have registered so many complaints of people being scammed online. So many fake accounts have been created by cyber criminals to con people. Sometimes people's names and profiles have been picked to create some other accounts to con from various members of the population. I remember personally I was a victim of that as a spokesperson when I was organizing graduation ceremony. We created an account, and this account had my profile photo with the graduation gown and the uniform. This person picked this profile photo, created his own account, and started conning from people who were supposed to send some contributions for the graduation party. So a number of people were conned through that way.
Some impersonators or some people whom we are yet to identify and know have opened social media handles, especially on TikTok, with the names museveni Official, impersonating as Museveni, the director of Eurogold and CEO of Museveni Foundation. And this person, the impersonator, is asking money, is frauding members of the public, asking them money for different reasons, or with others promising them jobs. And this impersonator is also asking others to, asking them from them money so that he can work on passports and get them jobs in other branches of Eurogold, which are outside Africa or outside Uganda. So I want to categorically state it clear that Museveni, as a person or as the gospel artist, does not ask for.
You just had a message from the police spokesperson here in West Nile. That is Fande Josephine Angusia and Derek Passy from the Museveni Foundation. And of course, these have been victims of scamming online, and which is a new threat for the people of West Nile, and they want this also to be fixed. And the police, I think, will be having more trainings to see that they can counter the online insecurity. But all in all, the people here are expectant of the president to address the issue of the West Nile ministry. Back to you at the Political Command Center.
Many thanks, there you have it, Joseph Omagor. Many thanks for joining us this afternoon. Now, it is the State of the Nation address, and that will be happening at Kololo. It will later be designated as a parliament ready to have that particular seating happen in the address kickoff. But some of the indications coming in is that of the opposition that seemingly looks like it has decided to sit this one out. But for more on that story, we are still joined by Canary Mugume on this latest. Canary, do we have an indication of perhaps why they will not be making an appearance?
Tracy, thanks. Well, I thought anything had changed. In just a couple of minutes, I had not looked behind, but looks like nothing has changed. And now we see the arrival of the Vice President, Jessica Alupo here, was just made her way to her seat, indicating that in a couple of minutes from now, we'll see the arrival of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and then later on the President. We're yet to understand the reasons from the opposition on why they have decided not to attend this particular sitting. But it's been the norm that the opposition, led by the National Unity Platform for the previous State of the Nation address, they had boycotted and said that they have nothing to listen to. But on this conversation, I am joined by Honorable Grace Ngabera-Nakfeza, who is the State Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs. Honorable, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. What are your expectations today? What are the people of Kisoro expecting to hear from the President today?
They are expecting to hear what the President will tell us on where we are going, what we should expect to happen in the 5 years to come, especially when it comes to socio-economic empowerment of the people, poverty eradication, Uganda becoming going to a middle-income status. Thank you.
There's a concern about the spending in your docket, the defense docket. There's a lot of spending that is classified, and yet people down in the villages, in the rural communities, they do not have jobs. They are struggling with putting food on the table. How are you going to balance this docket spending vis-a-vis what people on ground feel like they need?
Yes. Yeah, I believe by the time they are spending whatever they are spending, it is out of need. Some expenditures are not anticipated. Like, for example, if a war broke up in a neighboring country, there are things that a country would have to put in place before anybody knows what to do. So some expenditures are not expenditures that you just spend on nothing. They spend on the needs that would prevent and protect the country. So our people who are out there, they should expect that the government is just not a small thing like a family would, but it's a bigger thing than we expect. So in fighting poverty, we also have to ensure there is stability, there is peace, there is order.
This is your second term representing the people of Kisoro as woman member of parliament. My question to you is, what are the most pressing needs of the people of Kisoro that they hope will be addressed by the President today?
Yeah, of course, the people of Kisoro have time and again reminded the President that we need tourism roads, and we know there's a lot of expectation from this upcoming 5 years, because we have for many years waited for the roads to be made, and we have lots of tourism that happens in that place. So we expect that the tourism roads are at least made so that there's more income coming to the country. We also expect that schools, we have a need of schools in Kisoro. They are hard to reach areas. As you know, Kisoro is a mountainous area, and there are many places that need more schools so that students do not have to travel a long distance to access education. Also, gender empowerment in terms of looking for what the pressing needs of the women are, empowering them with skills that can sustain them and their families will also be another big focus. Again, also protection of children, the girl child who drop out of school, those who go into, we want to give them skills that can help them sustain themselves and their families. at the same time and do a lot of prevention. Of course, also we still have a long way to implement the putting power in different places. Hard-to-reach areas are much in need of power. Even myself, where I live, I do not have power. It is there, but we need to spread it in the different areas so that development is harnessed.
Thank you very much, Honorable. That is Honorable Grace Ngabirano Akfeza, the Woman Member of Parliament for Kisoro and also State Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, saying the people of Kisoro that she does represent their dire needs, needs about extension of hydroelectric power, extension of roads for tourism and many other things. But for real, if you're to look at it, it's very difficult to put the needs of 50 million Ugandans into a single speech of the State of the Nation address. However, the public expects the basic minimum on social services, to be able to go to the hospital and find medicine, to be able to move on roads that have been worked on, but also most importantly for their children to be able to go to school and at the end of the day be able to earn an income. That's a conversation that is happening here in the corridors of Parliament that has been decided that it will be sitting here at Koro Ceremonial Grounds. But more to that, poverty eradication has been on. The President has pledged over time that there's going to be more money injected into the poverty eradication programs, and also in the parish development model. Money at the parish will also be increased. That's a pledge from the President. But for those in the energy sector, say oil and gas, this is the oil year in August, expecting the first oil. How will the oil revenues be able to benefit the communities? But also most importantly, agriculture. Now speaking about agriculture, someone who has been very passionate about it and will be coordinating that sector and many other sectors on the local government, who has been just appointed as State Minister for Local Government, Honorable Justin Namere, also Woman Member of Parliament for Masaka City. Many thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Canary, thank you for having me.
You're live on NBS television. What are the most pressing needs of the people from Masaka that you hope the President will address this afternoon in the State of the Nation address?
Thank you very much. In Masaka City, arable land has become very, very small. We used to be the agricultural region, and with time, as they cut off the other districts, all the way to the Masaka local government that was recently cut off about 15 years ago, what we are left with as a city is very, very minimal arable land. Then we have a lot of influx from people that have been chased off the lake via illegal fishing rules. Then we have those that have been chased from Kampala due to trade orders. Then those that have been chased from the wetlands. Everyone is running to the nearest city, which is Masaka City. So we have a problem with arable land. What does that mean? We need to go vertical. We also need to go mechanized agriculture. So I am very happy that the President promised us while I was in Chankwanzi that we are going to have the mechanization center for the different machines that we require as Masaka City in mechanized agriculture. We're going to have the center of that entire zone in Masaka City. He also promised that because we don't have enough arable land to do the coffee farming, because on average at least you need an acre or 2 or 4. The typical Muna Masaka no longer has that land. So for us, we are going to go back to square one, to the seedlings. The seedlings that are going to be given out in the entire Uganda are going to be done in Masaka City. But most importantly, we need factories. We need value addition. If there is an area in Uganda that is anemic, that is ailing, that badly needs factories, an agricultural city, no single factory. We don't have a single value addition factory in an agricultural city. So by all means, of course the quick fix would be the seedlings, but the long term, the sustainable development would be industrialization, would be factories. I can't wait to hear his State of the Nation address. I know that I expect something to do with that
area. Let's speak about your docket, local government, many pressing needs. The President has consistently talked about corruption, especially in giving out of jobs, but also officers serve at local government for years without being promoted or changed. What are the most pressing needs in this last couple of days you've interacted with officials from the local government that you've found that you hope the President will address as you coordinate that docket?
Supervisory. There's people in local government that feel like they are bigger than any audit, they are bigger than any authority, they are bigger than any supervisory body, and that's wrong. We cannot have a local government with no supervision. When you ask the people in Maif, Ministry of Agriculture, that the government is giving out parish model, but your extension workers are not on ground to help the beneficiaries realize the benefits of that money. They tell you everybody feels bigger than everyone. You reprimand someone, they make a call to another office, and they're still back to the job. So there's a lot of interference from other government institutions into local governance, and that has got to stop. We have to make one decision, one of the two. Either we continue the way we are doing things and fail, or we get up and say we are going to do the right thing. Let the system work. If you're an extension worker, a production worker, VHT, DHO, be in the district, be in the division, be in the city clerks, market masters, sit where you're supposed to sit, go to the field, do your work.
They sit there and when they move out for lunch and never come back. Why is there no such a system where they work under key performance indicators? If certain work is not achieved at the end of a quarter, then they either do not get paid or their salary gets cut or they are transferred elsewhere or demoted, because that has become a very systematic problem.
I agree with you, and I'm very glad that I had my senior minister, Honorable Balam, talking about going digital. Some of these things we're not going to negotiate. We're going to fight in cabinet, we're going to fight in parliament to make sure local government attendance of work is digitized. Plus, we want to empower whistleblowers. We have a lot of, for example, just in the past week after my appointment, I have a lot of reliable information from whistleblowers. We want to find a system of empowering whistleblowers. There's no country that has gotten to a step that they've been fighting for a while, that has gotten to a bit of target without whistleblowers, without dependable whistleblowers. So in some way we have to protect the whistleblowers, and I encourage all of you whistleblowers, keep that information coming. Opposition in local government, please don't frustrate us because of cheap popularity. Work with us so that we are able to deliver.
How is opposition frustrating government officials? I'm curious, because you have the mandate, but you also have the authority as appointees from the president.
Let me give you an example. I have been seeing one of the opposition, the long-serving opposition members of parliament. She has been all over the place doing interview after interview, trying to demean Honorable Balam, trying to demean me, saying this work that you think you're going to do is not your job, it's supposed to be the IGP's job. I request her to call herself to order.
And who is that?
The canary. You know, you've been seeing her all over the place. So I just requested, and I saw Honorable Balam calling her out, Namboze, and a number of people. I've been seeing them calling out the Honorable Namboze. I request her and people like her to let us do our job. The report I'm getting from Ministry of Local Government is that every time they have been trying to make attempts to change the cow of Mukono district, she's the same Namboze who has been running to them to tell them the cow must stay. So in local government, let us get rid of my cow, my RDCs. Stop owning civil servants. If somebody has to be changed, has to be transferred, let them go. So I think that's the panic that's going on around her, and she thinks if she pulls the belittling card, we shall somehow barge in and barge into our pressure to keep that cow there. No, he's going to change. He's going to be changed. He's been in Mukono for 9 years. Every time that there's been an attempt to transfer him, the same numbers he has been running to the Minister of Local Government, the former minister, begging that he should stay. That is absolutely wrong. Even in Masaka, where I come from, I don't want to influence any transfer of any cow. Let the ministry transfer someone that they believe is good for Masaka to Masaka, that they believe is good for Gulu to Gulu, that they believe is good for Mukono, for Daka, for Karamajong, to all these given locations, so that we are all under the system, all under the law, and we deliver work. But there is a lot of undue influence from other ministries, heads of different government institutions. Please don't make phone calls to local government to meddle into our supervisory role. When we say somebody has been grabbing government land, stealing from parish model beneficiaries, Don't call and say that that one is good at singing NRM songs. No, let us supervise everybody. We shall see the politics when we are back to the political season. Now it's time for Chisanja. Hakuna sleep, and no corruption.
Honorable Namere, many thanks for speaking to us this afternoon. Thank you so much. I'll bring you back here after 2.5 years to see how that is going, if those targets have actually been achieved.
I'll be here and I'll give you good news, inshallah.
We'll see how that goes. This is State of the Nation and address, and still looking at some of the expectations from the different members of Parliament. From the NRM, they are hopeful that parish development model can be a game changer. Honorable, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. Parish development model as a game changer, injecting all this money into this poverty alleviation program and wealth creation program. How is it working in your community?
Thank you very much. My name is Honorable Amanya Koen Champene, Member of Parliament, Igara West Constituency in Ushenyi District. I think PDM is a game changer because we have seen success stories of people telling us that they never earned money, they never used to earn money, but now they are earning. It is also a game changer because the government is giving money to people to start up their businesses. In my area, and I'll give this as an example, in my area, most people are taking this money for purposes now of having an alternative to business, to income generating positions, because one, we had been having issues with the tea. So what is happening right now is that people now, there is a paradigm shift between the tea and other sectors. But when you look at the challenges that will happen even in the PDM, we had a lot of corruption scandals, but now with the president saying that no more corruption, bringing us new MPs, bringing us new ministers, we will be able to transform our country. And when you look at the agenda that the government has, or the president, it is that we have to make it happen. Because this is, the president has termed it as team no sleep, hakuna mchezo, kazi endere, all those. And that's why we are saying that what we need to do as members of Parliament, we need to create policies around safeguarding the PDM, around the government, around the policies. And today, we want to see in the president's speech that how do we then now go further? Because at the end of the day, there is PDM, but there are other services. For example, the roads, the road network. When you look at the other sectors, health sector, how do we? Because at the end of the day, there are many policies. Legislative policy, how will it be done under the Parliament? Then implementation policy, money into the economy. When you look at freedom, because there is a road, media, they need freedom. I mean, human rights perspective, and the judiciary. How do we integrate? Yes, because at the end of the day, for all of us and this government to work, we need each other. We need to work at one, bring into the economy, work for it, safeguard, and at the end of the day, we want to fight against this corruption thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Champene from Igala West. Well, we'll wait to see how the president does address the parish development model. And now joining me is retired General Jim Mwezi, who has been appointed as Minister of Security. General, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. You're live on NBS Television.
Yes, Canada, how are you?
Fine, thanks. What are your expectations on matters security? After serving the last term and bouncing back as Minister of Security, are there concerns you hope the President will address in this State of the Nation address?
Not about this statement, I don't know. Definitely we'll talk about security, which is okay. So I know we are going to consolidate on most of the things we have been doing, and also completing some other tasks we hadn't finished in the last term. For example, national security policy, on cyber security, there are quite many. But otherwise, we are going to consolidate on making sure that we eradicate the impact of terrorism, of ADF or Al-Shabaab or ISSI, as it were, which we are doing now in DRC, Congo, in Somalia, and so on, after we had wiped it out in the country.
I see many concerns from the members of the public that many officials from different security departments and agencies are involved in issues of land grabbing, illegal fishing, and all that. How can that be addressed?
You know,
security officials being used to do criminal activities.
We cannot say that there will never be any crime committed. But the difference between our government and the previous governments is that if any security officer commits any offense, decisive action is taken against him or her. Unlike in the past, where security officers would commit a crime and they transfer them. For us, we arrest them and they face the full force of the law. That's the difference, and we shall continue to do that to make sure that our security officers are disciplined and they protect the people and their property without.
And lastly, the concerns from South Sudan and then Democratic Republic of Congo. Looks like all our borders, there's always threats and danger. What is the plan now for the next 5 years? What is the plan from security?
Of course, as you know, to get regional security, you need the neighboring countries all to be able to provide security within their own borders. And Uganda has not shied away. Even where there are gaps, we have come in to fill those gaps. That's why we are in Somalia, that's why we are in DRC Congo, that's why we go to South Sudan to make sure that there is stability within those countries so that we can work together to provide the regional security.
Thank you very much, General, for speaking to us this afternoon. Says the concern still remains on fixing security in the neighboring countries of Uganda. Talk about Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan. There is Sudan itself. Well, we'll wait to see what the president mentions about security. Most of the times, he's been very, very pragmatic on strengthening national security, especially combating terrorism in the country. What will be the plan for the next 5 years? This will be the first State of the Nation address of President Yoweri Museveni in this new term of the 5 years as Parliament does sit here at Kololo. But it's not just security where concerns are. I can see right now there's been arrival of the Vice President and the Prime Minister with her deputies are all here, and most of the ministers also designate also here, who will be also, of course, still waiting, swearing in. I can also see the former Finance Minister, Matia Kasaija, also present here. Well, that's quite an interesting one. I've also seen other members who are present. However, the opposition seats remain empty, most of them, apart from a few members who have turned up. Here, casual conversations going on as they wait for the arrival of the Speaker. In about 13 minutes from now, the Speaker and the Speaker and the Deputy actually have already arrived. They do await the arrival of President Yoweri Museveni, who will be arriving at about 2 p.m. That's 12 minutes from now. But we'll continue to have conversations with different members of Parliament to pick their expectations. Many of them, of course, especially from the NRM and those independents that are NRM leaning, are focused on implementing what the NRM manifesto actually is saying or has been well laid out. During the campaigns, what has been said, and you can see that that is what is going to be taking place. So we wait to see what happens, what the NRM manifesto achievements will be for the last 5 years, and also what the plan is. I'm now joined by also newly appointed Minister, Honorable Lydia Wanyoto, who joins us this afternoon. Many thanks for joining us this afternoon. You're live on NBS. What are your expectations, or maybe I should say, what are the expectations of the people of Mbale on this State of the Nation address?
I'm Lydia Wanyoto Mutende, Woman Member of Parliament for Mbale City. We are here to listen to the Nation address from the President. That is a precursor to the next week's reading of the national budget. The expectation is that the President is going to give us the strategic directives that are not only going to see us start a new term of office, but take us from the next financial year 2026-2027 financial year as aligned within the strategic plan, but also in the manifesto of the NRM. There are programs and projects that are ongoing. For example, the strategic priorities of the road infrastructure, which are priorities to development, but also the socio-economic transformation on the pillars that talk about fighting poverty and also ensuring that we deal with matters of unemployment. Uganda is no longer a country of insecurity and conflict as we know it, but we have threats. Youth unemployment is a threat. We have many skilled youth who don't have where to wake up in the morning to put their energy and skills. That's the work of government. We must hear about that this morning.
For the people in Mbale who will be watching this address, do you feel like they'll feel like they have been included in this speech, that there's something in for them, for any local person in Mbale City? Do you think after watching this speech they'll feel like there's something in for them?
Yes, for Mbale City, we are going to continue looking at the USMID projects, maybe like phase 3.
Go 2 points as you begin this new office.
What we've been picking in the issues of ours is we are social doctors, ours solve problems. The challenges of the public service is the payroll. We must internalize the payroll, digitize it to deal with anything or any speculation about ghost workers. They shouldn't be on the payroll. We should digitize the payroll. There are many jobs that have not been either filled or people in acting capacity. My work to is to ensure that whoever is in acting capacity beyond the 6 months must be confirmed, or if they are not competent, we redirect that decision, but also fill up all the gaps in public service that have not been. Many ministries and agencies have less capacities in terms of full-time workers. Then we'll deal with the issues of efficiency and effectiveness. Speaking about the 10-fold growth, that where I'm coming from the National Planning Authority, we're talking about 500 billion US dollars growth within the next 10 years. It will not work if the people are not working, if Ugandans are not involved. So mine is to ensure that from the center of things, the participation and inclusivity is about the people. The people are in public service, and our work is to drive policy, and to ensure that whatever you're talking about is driven by Ugandans who are in service.
The issue of jobs distribution in public service, many heads of ministries, agencies and departments of government, they are like kingmakers in those particular agencies of government. They are the ones that distribute the jobs. How is public service going to solve this problem?
It's an issue of supervision, but also hitting the targets. So we are going to ensure that whoever deserves a job will get it, and that there will be supervision, but also we shall have targets and contracts deliverables. You are not going to be given a job and you leave your jacket there and go to do other things. You must work, but we are also going to prove the pay and the conditions of service. That's why we have been deployed there.
And lastly, many people watching you right now hoping that public service will eventually have a turnaround because they have many hopes in you. Are there things for the first 100 days you hope to improve in the public service?
We are going to be more transparent. We shall roll out for the public to see about the payroll. If you are going, we shall ensure that nobody buys a job. So the issues of buying jobs have come to an end. If you deserve a job, all we need are your papers, and we shall be able to put most of these things out there on air. I'm a media person, so we'll be able to roll out everything in a transparent manner and for the public to see. If there are interviews and you have won, you'll be seen. If you've lost, you'll be seen. We shall not go to hide jobs. We are not going to sell jobs. That has to stop. And all the public service commissions have to know that we have to do things that right. Wrong is wrong and right is right. The Ugandans that deserve will have their jobs, but they will have to work. because we are going to set out targets, we are going to set out terms of reference and deliverables. So if you have given a job, you must work. Appraisals will work and they will be effective. That's what I can promise Ugandans.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lydia Wanyoto, State Minister Designate for Public Service and also Women Empowerment for Mbale City there, promising that public service this time round will be transparent, there will be no paid for jobs, and the jobs will be really published out there. But that's what the NRM government has been promising for quite some time. Is there any difference this time round? That's also something to look out for. Honorable Diden, many thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Yes, thank you, Canary.
What are your expectations from this State of the Nation address?
From Buekura South constituency. As you are aware, today the President ushers in the new cycle of Parliament by addressing the State of the Nation address. We expect much from the economy to the priorities of government, top priorities of government in this cycle of government. And we also expect the President actually to touch those other priority areas as he deems fit in regarding to security, in regarding to agriculture, government programs like PDM, MUG and so on. So that is what we basically expect today from his State of Nation address.
The State of the Nation address years before today was such a big deal. You'll find people together in a community watching on one television. Now people go about their business because it's not such a big deal. What do you think has changed?
It is actually a big deal, but as you know, our society and social media has also taken up. You'll find people in their gardens, you'll find people in their homes watching the State of Nation address. And as you are aware, today we are few in number because of the Ebola outbreak, but it is still a big deal because this is one day whereby the Constitution mandates the President to usher in the new cycle of Parliament, but also give the status of government, especially on key priority areas like the economy, key priority areas like the security of the country, and key priority areas like any other government programs that are prioritized to be touched in this coming term of office.
What is key for, or very pressing and urgent for the people of Buekura?
Yes, Buekura South, like any other country, what is most key is their lives. What is most key is their household incomes. And we expect the President actually talk about the economy of Uganda today. As you are aware, Uganda has been growing at about 6% per annum. Uganda's GDP now expected to go beyond $60 million. So we expect the President to address even the priority programs of government that will uplift the income levels of our households in Buekura South and the whole country at large. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Didan Mowanzi, right there, representing the people of Buekura South. The conversations here are that they hope the President will touch on all these areas. But what will be in his speeches? His speeches, many people, while asked days before this State of the Nation address, there was word that the President should not start by giving history going back to 1986 and where this government came from, that he should indeed start by stating what is key and what are the key areas and how are these issues in these key priority areas going to be addressed, and what is going to be the change maker here for the next 5 years, or it is the same old song? Joining us now here is Honorable Dickson Kateshumbwa, representing the people of Shema. Many thanks, Honorable Kateshumbwa, for joining us this afternoon. You're live on NBS TV. When people in Shema watch this State of the Nation address, what do you hope they will get out of it?
First of all, this is an opportunity for the people to listen and get accountability from the President, because it's going to give a summary of what has been achieved and the focus for the next year. Interestingly, this is going to be the first State of the Nation address after the new term. So I believe that our people are very expectant, and we can easily predict that the President is going to emphasize the message he has been talking about, the issue of wealth creation, of us, the leaders, working with government to mobilize our people to get involved in production, in wealth creation, so that they are out of poverty. I also know that the president will emphasize issues of accountability because we need to see government being more efficient, more accountable, and then stopping the wasteful expenditure and corruption.
You talk about wealth creation. Every time these days when the president is giving address to the nation, he plays these videos of examples from different people who have used the PDM money really well. Is it the same on ground in Shema? Do you have these examples?
Yes, right now I have just received a report from my town clerk, and I'm going through to see the beneficiaries of all the wealth funds that have gone to Shema. GROW, YRP, WEP, Emyoga, and my major activity is to try and see now what has been the impact on the ground. Because these stories are very important. They motivate others. And this is about per capita income. The more and more people who can get into production and get money into their pockets, that is how we are going to expand our GDP and increase revenue, and then government can do services. We need to get the 39% people who are still in the subsistence economy into the money economy so that we can expand the GDP of this country.
And lastly, on corruption, with a few things that have happened the last couple of weeks, do you have hope that this time around things are going to be different, or it's going to be the same old song?
I think, first of all, there is increasing public scrutiny about every institution now. And the Auditor General's reports, year in, year out, has been talking about some of these issues, both at the central, in the ministries, in the MDAs, and the local governments. So we want to see the new government, the new cabinet ministers, take on this message. Let us see how we can stop this wasteful expenditure. And of course, Parliament must turn the page. We need to make sure that our accountability committees are very, very clear, and we intensify monitoring, we intensify oversight, so that these issues come out. And when they come out, we are able to save resources to be able to provide the people of Uganda the much needed services.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dickson Skateshumbwa, representing the people of Shema municipality right there. And as the government does take shape, it's exactly 1 minute past 2 p.m. We do hope the president to be arriving anytime soon, because all officials are supposed to be part of this address are all here, including the speaker, the deputy speaker, the chief justice, the vice president, the prime minister, and all designated ministers for cabinet and ministers. I can now see the speaker and his deputy, the Honorable Jacob Oboth and Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, in company with the chief justice, Dr. Flavian Zeja, are now taking the seat right there to declare Kololo venue of today's sitting in Parliament today. And we now understand that the president is just around the corner, and the sitting will be going on just briefly. Of course, there is many expectations. Many are looking forward to what is in for them as members of the public, as citizens, poverty alleviation, the oil and gas gains. We're talking about many things that have created expectations. But also, security is still such a big question. And then, of course, corruption. What will that look like? The address, to be able to put the interests of 50 million people in just one address is quite a job. But I can see the speaker, Jacob Oboth, has gone right there to take position to receive the president, who will be giving the State of the Nation address. And I can see the motorcade of the president has now just coming inside the Kololo ceremonial grounds, looking forward to what that address will look like. It is the only item on the agenda today, and according to the rules of procedure, the president will be listening to in silence. However, at a later date, the opposition who are not present today will be given an opportunity as per their mandate to go on and respond to the State of the Nation address by the president, Well, many are asking how will they respond to the State of the Nation address that they are not part of. Maybe they'll be watching on NBS television to know what the president will have addressed and not addressed and be able to do that. Looking forward, but as you can see, there are a few members of the opposition. Actually, just you can count them on the fingers. About 8 of them who have come here to be part of this. No one from the National Unity Platform. I'm yet to see anyone from the National Unity Platform who is part of this. I saw some members of parliament earlier on social media from the National Unity Platform making it clear that their party has decided not to attend. However, from the members of the opposition from the other parties like FDC I spoke to, like Honorable Moses Atan, he says that there was no position or communication from the leader of opposition. There was no communication from their party whip, Honorable Anna Adeke, and therefore there is no position here on why the opposition has not attended. But let me speak to one of them. Honorable, many thanks for joining us this afternoon. One is wondering, why are the opposition seats empty? Just a couple of you who have decided to attend. Why is that?
This is the 6th time I'm standing SONA, and they have made it a habit. It's actually a precedence. Every time there is SONA taking place, opposition does not turn up. However, the Constitution under Article 101 says the President shall always deliver a message, a keynote message to Parliament and the state. If they so respect the Supreme Constitution, they should come here. But then, after this, we'll have a debate in Parliament of Uganda about the State of the Nation address. They will debate. Now, it beats my understanding under what angle they're on. You want to rebut, to come to the field where the food is being cooked, have it, and then go back and rebut to it. In the event they're not there,
how are they going to respond to an address they have not attended?
They always do so, and the allegation is that we had and we read. But you have an opportunity. There is an allowance being paid for. You fought to be in Parliament so that you can hear the President speak. You do not want to come. It's something that baffles my mind. You want to serve your country, you want to serve your people, come and then battle at the battlefield. You skip the battlefield and then you come afterwards. It is not patriotic at all.
Do you think that boycotting the State of the Nation address, they score any points?
They don't talk of boycotting. Eventually they will say they attended. I've heard of precedents where they say they attended virtually. Because if they were to boycott, they would put it in writing. They have never put any writing that we are not going to attend. They are just missing in action. That's what I would call them. Should they want to boycott, they would put it in writing. Apparently, some opposition members of parliament are in the attendance. I've seen some FDC members and UPC members. It's just a sect of members of parliament from a particular party that have not come. But that doesn't stop the State of the Nation from going on. We'll receive it and we'll rebuttal with them on the floor of parliament when they do come to respond to that. And indeed they will.
How do you look at that? Is it disrespect? Is it not following what their mandate is? How do you look at it as an individual?
I believe there's a time we should put Uganda first. And what they are actually doing is being partisan. In Parliament of Uganda, we believe in the country and the people of Uganda. Yeah, we come from different parties, but at the end of the day, we look at the welfare of the opposition and both the ones in the ruling party. They are not coming speaks volume to their notion and understanding of the Constitution. This is a constitutional mandate, Article 101, the same Constitution they pay respect to. Unless they are telling us that the Constitution they are serving and worshipping is a different one from the one we are worshipping, which is contrary to what we see them do after this particular issue. They want to show disrespect. I wouldn't call it disrespect. I would call it, I think it's an intellectual ideology that they have to correct within themselves. 6 years, they don't come and nothing has changed. What would they give? What statement do they give that they've achieved by not attending? Yet they always rebut on the floor of parliament when they put a debate.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable. Right now we can see the arrival of President museveni here at Kolo ceremonial grounds. He will be going through the guard mounted by the Uganda Police Force and be received by the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oboth, and also the Chief Justice, Dr. Flavian Zeija, who will then be able to usher him to his seat, and then Parliament shall resume. There's only one item on the order paper today, which is the State of the Nation address, where the president will be listened to in silence. After receiving the president, who has just arrived here at Koro ceremonial grounds, we'll then await to see what that speech will look like. The previous speeches have been, I could say, in tandem with the budget, which of course will also be read about a week from now, around 9th or 11th of June, and we wait to see what is in the budget. However, from the deliberations, a lot of money has been put in, of course, the infrastructure development and, of course, energy, but also most importantly, wealth creation programs. Wait to see how that will be able to transform. Is it possible that that leap of a 50 billion to a $500 billion economy to a second middle class status country will happen for Uganda? What are the drivers, and what about corruption? How will it be fought? Is the NRM government serious this time round, or it's the same old song? Those are conversations that continue to dominate. And what about national security? Members of the different forces also with their mandate on what they're supposed to do, doing it as according to what they're supposed to and what the constitution says. That is a conversation also dominating headlines. And I can tell you for sure, there's just a couple of members of the opposition, and now the arrival of President Yoweri Museveni right there, who will be ushered into his seat, and Parliament shall resume. This is just a couple of minutes after 2 p.m. Majority of the members of Parliament have turned up here, and I see this is the second or third. This is a third sitting actually of Parliament here that I see, and Anita Mongo also is visibly absent. Again here at Kololo ceremonial grounds, but the other members I see, especially those who have been designated as ministers, do attend, including visibly the former Minister for Finance, Matia Kasaija, who I've seen here. Wait to see what that address will look like. We'll go by the anthems, and after the anthems, we'll wait to see how that address will be able to address some of the pressing issues and needs of Ugandans who are awaiting. What is going to be the game changer? Is it the revenue from the oil and gas? Is it the revenue from the money that has been put in different wealth creation programs? And what about alleviation of poverty? The statistics from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics don't look pretty good. When you look at the poverty levels, especially from the different regions in northern Uganda, in Busoga, and many other regions. So then what will be then the game changer here to be able to get people out of poverty? 40 years counting of the NRM government under President Yoweri Museveni. What is going to be different this time around as we count an extra 5 years of the NRM government led by President Yoweri Museveni? The anthems will be played here. The anthems here will be played, and then Parliament shall resume. What you're seeing right now is the State of the Nation address. That is, we can see the Honourable Jacob Oboth, both Speaker of Parliament, and Honourable Thomas Taibwa, besides the President. He does sign. He indeed has visited the House, and he will be giving his speech and listened to in silence. The opposition majority, over 95%, or I could say 99.9%, have not attended. His son is done signing the visitation book here, and the deputy will now go to their seats, and the session of Parliament here will resume and begin, and then the State of the Nation. How will the opposition be able to respond to the State of the Nation address that they have not attended? Maybe they're attending virtually, maybe they'll be watching on NBS television to see what has been addressed and what has not. And now the House begins now. Let's listen in.
The anthems. prayers. Almighty God, who in your infinity wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you've been priest-called to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner, so as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you've committed to their charge. Amen.
Proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament.
Whereas under Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda is mandated at the beginning of each session of Parliament to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation, aware that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has, in accordance with Article 1011, indicated to the Speaker of Parliament his intention to address Parliament on the state of the nation on Thursday, 4th June 2026. Now, therefore, in accordance with Rule 18.1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I hereby proclaim, 1, that Parliament shall sit at Kololo ceremonial grounds on Thursday, 4th June 2026 at 1400 hours to receive the address of His Excellency, the President, on the state of the nation, and 2, the Kololo ceremonial grounds to be the precincts of Parliament for the above-mentioned purpose, given under my hand at Parliament House, Kampala, this first day of June 2026.
Communication from the Chair.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Her Excellency, the Vice President, Major Retired Alupo Jessica Ipal, His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Dr. Flavian Seja, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of Government Business in Parliament, Robin Nabanja, the Right Honorable Leader of the Opposition in Parliament, Joel Senyonyi, Cabinet Ministers and Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament of Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to this official state opening of the first session of the 12th Parliament of Uganda, during which we will receive the President's address on the state of the nation. Honorable members, the State of the Nation address is a key constitutional address pursuant to Article 1011 of the 1995 Constitution, delivered by His Excellency the President to Parliament to outline the government's achievements over the past financial year, address pressing national challenges, and lay out government's legislative agenda for the upcoming session of Parliament. I take this momentous occasion to formally congratulate His Excellency the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, upon retaining yet another mandate of the people of Uganda. In the same vein, I congratulate all of you members of the 12th Parliament upon your election. I implore you to bear in mind that an election victory is only the foundation of leadership. What follows is the hefty responsibility of governance, fulfilling campaign promises and ensuring social cohesion. Your Excellency, on behalf of the 12th Parliament and on my own behalf, we affirm our solid commitment to the realization of the government's tenfold growth strategy, our national economic blueprint designed to expand the country's GDP from roughly $50 billion to $500 billion by 2040. Honorable members, the State of the Nation address, which we eagerly await this afternoon, is particularly historic. It will be the first of 5 annual addresses of its kind by His Excellency the President. That will mark the start of each of the 5 sessions of the tenure of this Parliament. Your Excellency and honorable members, you will note that the physical attendance of this annual occasion has been restricted to only the members of Parliament, as a precautionary measure in response to the prevailing threat of the Ebola disease. Parliament recognizes and appreciates government's swift response in ensuring public health and safety whenever such situation arises. And I want to thank you for your kind attention.
Invitation by the Right Honourable Speaker to His Excellency the President to deliver to Parliament an address on the state of the nation.
Your Excellency the President, Article 1011 of the 1995 Constitution grants you the mandate to deliver to Parliament and to the nation at the beginning of each session of Parliament your address on the state of the nation. The House is greatly honored by your presence this afternoon. Honorable members, as we welcome His Excellency the President, I draw your attention to and urge you to abide by Rule 10 of the Rules of Procedure, which provides in Sub-Rule 4A that the President, while occupying the chair of state, may make a presidential statement which shall be heard in silence and not followed by any comment or question. I now take my maiden and singular honor and privilege to invite you, Your Excellency, to address the nation. Your Excellency, you are most welcome.
Excellency the Vice President of Uganda, Excellency the Vice President of Uganda, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, and all the other leaders and fellow Ugandans. I'm again very happy to address you on this occasion of the State of the Nation Address for the year 2026. First of all, I thank and congratulate all the Ugandans for having participated in the series of elections ever since the 15th of January 2026. And for massively supporting the NRM. Thank you so much, Ugandans. Above all, I thank God for all these victories and for the peace in the country in spite of so many evil people that have been plotting to disturb the peace. During the presidential address, during the presidential inauguration, I put forward a call of no more sleep. Some people are already distorting it as just no sleep. It is not just no sleep, it is no more sleep. And to clarify the message, I should add no more corruption, obscurzy, no more Kongora, leaning on your hole when others are digging. That's called Kongora in our language. No more kugumaza, kuzya, diverting somebody's attention from the real target to a wrong target. No more to hinder, overburden us when we work and we are just sitting down. And no more politeness to non-performers who want leadership for their own ego and personal interests. This is the Xanja, no sleep. The story of the NRM and Uganda starts in the early 1960s. Personally, I started waking up our people in 1959 when I visited Mbara Stock Farm as a junior secondary 1 pupil at Mbara High School. Having come from the Ntungamo area that was democratically outside the money economy, and everybody was on Okora Ichida Chonka, working only for the stomach, subsistence. Combined with the school education, when we came to know about the enclosure movement in the UK, Oksiba Sengenge for agriculture, the Industrial Revolution in Europe, etc. By 1965, the sectarian politics of the political groups notwithstanding, our ideas about the socio-economic transformation had coalesced. It was clear that the small enclave economy of the British, of the 3 C's and 3 T's, was a disaster for the majority of the people. You want proof? Just look at the infant mortality rate in 1962 and the average life expectancy in 1962. There were 128 per 1,000 live births, and life expectancy was 46.8 for everybody on the average. We soon grasped the importance of having vertically integrated and horizontally integrated national economies. In the 20 years of chaos between 1966 and 1986, our views were eventually crystallized into the 10 points program of Kanyara. Kanyara was where we wrote this document in 1984. Point number 5 of those 10 points run as follows, in quotes: building an independent, integrated, self-sustaining national economy. However, for the people to participate in the vertical and horizontal integration of the economy of the country, they had to join the money economy first and move out of the traditional pre-capitalist economy of working for a chida chonka, working only for the stomach, just subsistence. Since my nomadic family, because my family was nomadic, since my nomadic family had migrated from Ntungamo to Nyabushozi, it was the good luck of Nyabushozi that we started our activities there. These activities involved sensitizing the population of the cattle corridor, stop nomadism, make enclosures around their land, Sengenge, engage in commercial agriculture with the Chivaro, Chura, Aymar, calculation for profit and maximum returns. You can see in the videos, let them show us of the families we started with, if they are there on the videos, their testimony.
Amazina gange estamagaga witu nahan waheta gwengwe nshwerenji hampa tkeje homwa gwankaga netano hampa eriens konka bakandi bagete mpango keriye mpango nese eteine bhinge eteine keriyembura rishaka twata home kutwabere turi umuntu risa turi nko twatarinka bakara mujya mbwe president ayijongu ari umusenya ya mukaga yataya yo makagaitu tukugira ngo akataragira ngo naragira atari umwana wishomero tukanto mukiza n'imyaka namwe ninje mukiza ubundi ya ninje mukiza tukanto mukiza imyaka akatsomesa ari umwana yatsomesa okutura okuhinga okumbeka amashu gatakugira ngo n'amabati agagutwayombekere bwanyuma g'ebihome okuba batuza umunsi okurera kuzengerera okurera kutasha kutwabanda nambwini nkaitwe nkanya nkenjo yange ekeha cye kutasha kanyabhara konka yatutanga yatwegesa ibintu birungi yatwegesa okushitama yatwegesa okutura yatwegesa twaba abantu mbwini kuko abantu babaire abari kumanya kuri ko babaire bari itwe tukatarinka bakaramoje kandi nakigamba matkatarinka bakaramoje hakaba karamoje bakabatorana bafurka nambwini nabo mporera ngo abegesa abandi akabareta mpani mporera nabo bagambe ya orime w'abantu nuya atikiza no kuturkushoku no kutuyimukondo nubu ataine kakwate nango no kuba umuntu nakwentkantumkize imyaka itwe tkantumkize imyaka hari nahata nango nimukira n'ubundi yampa hati kuyahiriza
We were students having finished A level, and we told them to stop. She was saying that they were like the Karamojong at Katun Kabakoromuishu, nomadic. And if you read our booklets, if you are polite, if you if you can make yourself a bit humble to learn from smaller people like us, then you will see how we argued with those traditional people to stop from nomadism, stop nomadism, and have settled agriculture, grow crops, and so on. Now, she was saying that because of the insecurity, we had to go away to fight. But when we came back, 1986, we added the issue of going now, not only just being settled, but being settled and also doing commercial agriculture with the Chivaro. That's why we advised them to go into dairy farming, because dairy farming was more, for smallholders and medium people, it was better than beef ranching. Beef ranching needs more land. Now, That model, which started in the Nyabushozi area, has spread to the whole cattle corridor south of the Nile. There's a man called Matongo in the Ngoma area. Let's see what he says.
Amazina ninje George Matongo wa Ngoma Ngoma tuhano gwetaka shozi nandi kutaha umurimo gwanje ndi muri isa nteze mujya kureba nuko itandikira tatakanda ngento bakubya talobo hagwacha dana meirisa zakanya nagura amataka nyose nazo zakorera intwenda zashubitiza abana bihereze naturuho kabanza mu Nyankore naje nahindura kumata ngo nzungu nuko zahanyuranye natunga atuzungu zo ndisumute.
On our farm, we collect over 900 liters of milk per day, and a liter costs 800 shillings, which is approximately 21 million per month.
So now this is now another side of the cattle corridor, Ngoma, Nagaseke district. But the cattle corridor is continuous from the border with Tanzania in Isingiro all the way up to northern Uganda. But much of the work we have done so far was in the south of the Nile, from River Kagera up to Chiriandongo. They have all changed. Now that man is in Ngoma area. The infrastructure is not so good, but you can see they are having a lot of money. That particular one is selling 900 liters of milk per day. The price is low, it's not high, but they still get 21 million shillings a month. You can see that girl there, she's educated because of the money which the parents have to pay for her in the schools. And they have moved from the other small houses which the old lady was showing you to now permanent buildings to live a better life. Now that is the testimony from the cattle corridor. That's why this time really I am no longer interested in non-performers. Between 1986 and 1989, we campaigned for prioritizing the enterprise of dairy farming for the small and medium farmers, while the big players could continue with the ranching for beef. By 1995, the cattle corridor had started changing. People getting income per month from the milk, building better houses, paying school fees for children in paying schools. Indeed, our late Magaga is the husband of the other lady whom you saw, and father of Lieutenant General Kavuma. Is Kavuma here? Is he here? He's a big general now. Oh, you can see how big he is. There he is. Now, their family together, the wife, the one you saw, and the husband who died. Indeed, our late comrade Magaga, the father of Kavuma, came to me and told me that he did not know what to do with the money. When they started getting money from the milk, he couldn't believe it. He came to me. You people really, once you say you are a leader, you are putting a problem on yourself. If you don't become a real leader, God will not like you. I can assure you of this. Either you lead or you stay in your home. Don't try to be a leader when you are not, when you don't care about the people. So Magaga came and said, a citizen should be recognized. Because the milk people are paid every 15 days. They are paid. And this had never happened in Magaga's life. She had never seen it. That a villager is being paid every 15 days, being paid money. Being paid every 15 days. Nka Omshara. That's what he told me. As if I am working in a government office and being paid a salary. That was the tragedy of Uganda at that time. Only the civil colonial servants could get regular income. This change in the cattle corridor by the traditional families of Abatar Soma, because these people had never gone to school. Magaga had never gone to school. His wife had never gone to school. To change Abatar Soma, the ones who never went to school, was engineered by us, was against the advice of the professionals. Professionals did not believe we could change these people. They would tell me, you're wasting your time. Those Banyankore cannot change. They were all saying to a man that the Banyankore could not change from their pre-capitalist lifestyle to a money economy. Moreover, when we were doing this, nobody among the colonial elite would agree to support us. It is only Mzee Byanyima who gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugwa Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used, the only person who helped us gave us 20 shillings. That's about $3. Just short of $3. Because a dollar that time was 7 shillings, a dollar. So $3 would be 21 shillings. So when we went to say we are going to mobilize the Banyankore to stop nomadism, other people refused to help us. Mzee gave us 20 shillings. With my colleague Mwesugo Black, who died in 1972 in our wars, we used 7 shillings per person to use Mongonya's bus from Baraturushere through Ruhumba. That was 14 shillings. So out of our 20, we used 14 to come from Baraturushere. 2 of us, each one 7 shillings. Mwesugo was a smoker. So you took away shillings 120 to buy a packet of Sportsman. That left us with 4 shillings 80 cents. After holding public meetings at Rushere, we used the Bazarona bus to a place called Katongore, each using shillings 1 shilling and 20 cents. That is 2 shillings and 40 cents. In the Katongore area, we started moving on foot up to near Nama, where we spent the night leaning against the harvested millet. When we spent one of the nights, we spent it leaning against the millet of one of the peasants called Chankuru. Millet is very comfortable when it is not threshed, when it is in the sheaves. After addressing a public meeting at Nama, the group gave us bicycle rides to Mzee Bitasene's place near Ramasha Dam. Moving on foot, we addressed meetings, including a mega one at where there is Karo Secondary School now. You should have seen the grandfathers and other adults listening to these young people. I was just 22 years old that time, and Mwesugo was just slightly older than me. Thereafter, we moved on foot out of Mzee Tanyoka's home that we had made our camp and spent the night at Rushere with Mzee Mhinga. Thereafter, our remaining 2 shillings and 40 cents could only take us up to Nyakasharara. And from there, we walked on foot all the way to Mbarara, spending the night at my kurar in Akairungu near Bharu Mbarara area. It was now 1967, January, and it was time to take up our temporary teaching jobs and get our own money to easily support our voluntary struggle for our people. Therefore, when I hear leaders talking of allowances to reach their people and get them out of poverty, I almost get nausea. I feel like vomiting. If you don't know, when I look at you, the way you do things, I really feel very not pleased, but out of politeness, I've been keeping quiet. But now I'm telling you. Even those who get government allowances do not go to the field. I hear that many just stay in Kampala. Another mistake is for leaders to give personal money to constituents. As you can see here, we had no money to give to anybody. The only money we had, even when we started getting our own salaries, was for bus transport. Most of the time I would ride the bicycle from Kazo to Burunga, from Burunga to Rwakitura and back. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. So now you hear a problem. Murka Chief needs a motorcycle. Motorcycle for what? Let the Murka Chief ride a bicycle. I'm really sick and tired of that parasitism. And that's why I told you that this is Kisanja, no more sleep. Because I've been polite, talking, thinking that people will learn by example. No. This is the time to talk straight to everybody. Why should the Muruka Chief have a motorcycle, fuel, money? Let him use a bicycle. It is better for him. He will live longer if he rides the bicycle. Even a Gombore chief, the Gombore is not so big. Why should we have fuel, all that? Work can't be done because there is no money for fuel. The only fuel I needed was no fat on my body. We would share food and accommodation with our hosts, the population. God has kept me here, and I'm now 82 years old, almost, not exactly, but almost. In spite of the efforts we expended in the resistance, the most important contribution to the people of the Cattle Corridor was diagnosis of their problems and the prescriptions we offered. Because these people had no money to give them. The only thing we gave them was a correct analysis, diagnosis, and a prescription. They were enough to arouse their enthusiasm and expectations. That was the reason they massively joined the young party we formed in 1980, known as UPM, after the parties were again allowed to exist. No money given to them, but accurate analysis and prescription that was a projected solution. And also reaching them. You can imagine a 22-year-old children calling adults, grandfathers, and they come to these meetings. By 1986, the production of milk in Uganda was 200 million liters per annum. It is now 5.4 billion liters, saving US dollars 1.56 billion of imports and earning US dollars 285 million in export earnings. So this work we did not only help these cattle raising families, but saved Uganda the import bill of $1.56 billion. If we were importing all this milk, Uganda would be spending $1.56 billion. Additionally, Uganda is earning now $285 million in export earnings. Uganda used to import tinned condensed milk from as far away as New Zealand, packed paper milk from Kenya, butter, cheese, yogurt, powdered milk, etc. from Denmark, etc. Uganda now is a big exporter of all those products. That is our work. The people in the cattle corridor need to deepen their work by going away from Oksetura, free range, to growing pasture and indoor feeding of cattle, goats, and sheep. The only people who indirectly helped us in this were the late King Gasionga and some community leaders like Eliazar Bitembe, who had mobilized the Banyankore to come back from where they had been dispersed by the spread of the tsetse flies, following the invasion of tsetse flies from Karagwe, Tanzania in 1918 and after. To be saluted in particular is President Eisenhower of the United States, who deployed USAID to spray against the tsetse flies in 1958 using a chemical known as dieldrin. When President Clinton visited us in March 1998, I wanted him to visit the cattle corridor and see the outcomes of the good the USAID had done. However, his people preferred to take him to Mukono to see pancakes. So I wanted him to want to see this work, but his people said, no, you go to Mukono and see pancakes. So they went to see pancakes. Even me, I went with them. Ever since the coming into power of the NRM, we have eradicated the tsetse flies in Ichiboga, Ngoma, Busoga, Lango, etc. With the shift from Kusetura, free range, to indoor feeding of the dairy and beef cattle, and stopping the primitive practice of property fragmentation after the death of the head of the family, Uganda will overtake countries like the Netherlands, Australia, Argentina in production levels of dairy products, beef, leather, etc. After this success, I started inviting delegations of leaders from other parts of Uganda to visit and learn. This is where the question of no more sleep, no more kukongora, no more kugumaza, no more kuhenda, no more politeness to non-performers comes in. Because I would invite leaders, come please and see. This area was like this. We have now moved it, it's moving like this. And they would visit. My expectation was that they would go and try to do the same in all our areas in Uganda. The Count of Nyabushozi each day delivers to the factories and milk coolers 1.15 million liters of milk per day. That's county alone. There are 115 milk coolers in Nyabushozi alone, mainly private. And there are now 160 milk and milk products factories in the whole of Uganda. Having succeeded in the Nyabushozi-Kazo area, and having been inviting delegations after delegations in 1995, I made a countrywide tour on exactly this point. I studied the whole country, and I recommended the two modes of agriculture: intensive agriculture for people with small pieces of land, and extensive agriculture for people with big pieces of land. In the 1996 manifesto, we reduced it into the 4 acres model with 7 activities for intensive farming and for other products for the plantations and the big farmers with big pieces of land. With 4 acres or less, you could engage in zero grazing for 1 acre of pasture with 8 Frisian cattle, 1 acre of coffee, 1 acre of fruits, 1 acre of food, for the family, poultry for eggs and piggery in the backyard, and fish farming near the wetlands. With large farming, there was more flexibility. You could undertake any or all of these 7 that were high-income earners, even when you do them on a small scale, and you could also take on the low returns activities, but on a large scale, because the country also needs them. These are products like tea, cotton, sugarcane, cattle ranching, etc. The logical question was, how do we, the cashless people of Abakore Chidachonka, start? That was the question. Once I started talking about this after the 1996 elections, the question was, where is the capital to start? Immediately, 1997, we put in Tandukwa money at the sub-county to work as a revolving fund. I remember checking in Rubaga division here in Kampala, there was a DP chairperson known as Sendika Diwa at that time in that area. That money was already there. And I was challenging Sendika Diwa how to use that money to give low interest capital to our people. Since that time, we have never relented. NADS, in the year 2001, Operation Wealth Creation 2013, PDM starting with the year 2022, Myoga in the year 2020, etc. Many families have listened and benefited. In my country tours, I found a man called Mudebo in Sironko. Let's see Mudebo.
Ibi imazachi. Natandika minu mojange lino balugendo lwanje. Ngindina makwekwe natandika ngendo kubaya kafu yange. Kafu yange yenyowa ejitu. Nejiba yange ejirange tsara. Ye kabi najirange babura. Natandika na kolera shekubonerako imbali ngengona mu housing estate. Mwaka 1918 neza emazachi hano nagula liswa nazagala anganongera paka nafuna bubalayi wezi eka zibiri ni kakatu ni butikitiki budabi zikafu hano kusawa eno ndiwoni zikafu zine zesi ekama mabere zikafu zine zino zindetera mabere lita enkaga naza mumoni nga ewosengabira ko bantu zinano zikafu nga nakuwere kafu ikulu ngayi ikafu yikola chino wenga inyowa iba yose mosi yekabiri aba yo mwayi nazecho chekubonerako nagabirako Mr. Odeje idayi umarudye nga bayisa batyo era sawayi ongobo serese nano ikafu inano nese mugongo gutamagose sese opako inano imosi.
Now what Mudebo is saying in Rumasaba, which you people don't understand, is saying that he was living in the town in Namakwekwe trading suburb of Mbare. But when this program came, this one was of, I think this was NADS, one of the first ones. He got a cow from NADS and was keeping it in Namakwekwe. But eventually he got money and bought, I think, two acres in Sironko. He moved from Namakwekwe, now he went back to Sironko, bought land. Zikafu, what he was saying, the cows, I think now they're giving me like 60 liters. Is my Rugisu correct? Was it 60 liters or something like that? Enkaga. Now, with the milk, not only the milk, but also the cow dung he went into coffee growing. We don't have time to listen to the whole story, the Chibaro, but he's doing very well. This is Mudiebo, who started with nuts long ago. Then now you go to there's somebody called Cherimo.
Limo Nicholas. Welcome to this village. Is called Ngeny Village, Kapkoro Sub-County, Buko District. I'm a farmer. I'm doing dairy. As you can see, I have 3 cows now, but 2 are producing milk. 1 is still growing. I also have coffee, 1,200 trees. I have bananas on 1 acre. I also have fruits, apples specifically. And then I have horticulture. I am growing vegetables. And then I have chicken, the local breed, but I have 100 so far under a poultry unit, which we are producing for milk, for eggs, and also for sale. We really thank government because when I started this farm, I started doing this farming activity in 2004. I did it using my own resources, but in 2018, government under Operation Whereas Creation, they gave us a cow, and now this cow so far it has sired 3. These ones are 3 here because of the congestion here. I've taken them to another annexed farm which I bought. These cows here, it has assisted me so much as a farmer because we are getting milk. As you can see, this one here, this one is Asha. It has produced milk for over 1 year plus. So the milk production has gone down. But so far, we are getting 10 liters a day from this other cow. Then this one is a crossbreed, a local and a crossbreed. We are getting, this one gives us 8 liters. So in total, these cows give us 18 liters per day. These 18 liters, when you calculate it with the current market price of 1,800, we get like 900,000 every month from these 2 cows. So next year, all of them are they are pregnant. We expect them to produce in January. So when we get now peak production, our milk is going to increase. But so far, these other 2 cows is assisting us in payment of fees, maintaining the home. We are also getting the bananas, which we sell on weekly basis. At least we get like 250,000. In a month, we get like about 1 million from the bananas. Then the coffee is also doing very well. So far, this year, we have already picked 5 bags of dry parchment. And that 5 bags, when you calculate it with the price of 10,000, that is already 5 million. The coffee is doing very well because of this mixed farming ingredient. We get the cow dung, we get the bioauxiliary, and that is what you can see the bananas are very healthy. And also the coffee is doing very well. So that is what we are getting.
That is the testimony of Cherimo. I didn't get time to calculate the whole Chibaro, the whole calculation, the milk, the 900,000 per month. That would be like 10 million a year. Then you have the bananas, 200,000 per. Then you have the coffee. But he started benefiting from Operation Wealth Creation. Let's see now Kaziwe of Jinja.
Amanya gange Kaziwe Mike, tuli Namazala LC1, Musedesi County, Jinja District. Wano tuli Kaziwe Family Mixed Farm ya waka. Farm eno twagitandika mu 2013 nga tutandika n'entemu yatuweebwa gavumenti nga tuyita mu kitongole ekya NADS. Mu kiseera ekyo gavumenti yali etuwa emitwalo 7 era ffe emitwalo 7 twayongerako emitwalo 35 ne tugula ennyana ku miliyoni 1 n'emitwalo 5. Ente eyo etuzaalidde abaana kati mu kiraalo wano saawa kino wenjogerera waliwo ente 11 naye abaana bezadde abaana ente eyo bezadde n'abazikulu bonna bazze batuzaalira kale tuzze nga tutunda ku nte ezo okukendeeza ku carrying capacity nga bwe tuli ku faamu kuno tulinako ente ezikamwa ku saawa eno tukamya ente 5 nga tufunamu amata agawera lita 8. Buli lita tugitunda shilingi 1200 lunaku ne tufuna emitwalo 9 mu 6. Omwezi ogumu tufuna miliyoni zaffe 2.88. Kaakati bwe tujjako ez'abakozi ne tujjako eziddukanya faamu n'ebiralala ogenda okumaliriza nga tusigazizaawo miliyoni 1.5 ezo ezikola emirimu emirala mu maka. Mu ntamu muno era tujjamu biogas. Biogas tumukozesa mu kufumba.
Ne woba okoyo oba ova mu nnimiro towerera tomenyeka osazaawo wano gaasi n'ofumba ne bitereera. Era kyatutaasa nnyo tetukyamenyeka nanku.
Kino kyenkutte mu ngalo ye sabbuuni waffe gwe tukola okuva mu busa obw'ente. Sabbuuni ono tumukola mu biosilary abaavudde mu biogas digester nga gaasi amaze okuvaamu. Sabbuuni ono tumupakinga mu lita 1 ne mu lita 5. Lita 1 tugitunda 3,000 nga currently omwezi production yaffe ya lita 7 era nga buli lita tugitunda 3,000. Bw'obalabalamu omwezi tuyingiza emitwalo 21 okuva mu sabbuuni waffe ono. Ng'oggyeko bye tukozesa n'ebirala packaging materials ng'obudomola buno ne bu stickers bwe tuteekako obwa labeling tukkakkana nga tulinawo emitwalo gyaffe 18 ezitaliiko musolo okuva mu sabbuuni buli mwezi.
Ennimiro eno tugiyita COVID garden. Bwe twali mu lockdown nga buli muntu ali waka eno yali ssamba ya bikajjo. Ne tusalawo ne tugamba ebikajjo tubigyewo tuzimbewo koko. Olwondo nga maze okugendako ewa mukwano gwange maze n'okuwulira pulezidenti bw'asomesa 4 acre model. Wano tulinawo ebikolo bya koko 1,800. Buli eka twagiteekamu ebikolo 450. Kati nga tetunnaba kutandika kulya koko twali amatooke kuba buli kikolo kya koko bw'okiraba kwaliko ekitooke. Muzeeyi agamba 4 acre model tuli ku principle ye kituufu naye ffe tubala bikolo tubala nti ebikolo 450 biri kukola eka kati ffe tubala nti wano tulinawo eka emu ey'ebitooke.
Kazibwe near Jinja has cows selling 80 liters of milk a day, has coffee, has cocoa, has bananas, as you can see. I think even had pigs, but we don't have time to see all that. Now, all these, some of them, he got them from Operation Wealth Creation when it was giving out some of the seedlings. Then there are other, my favorite from Abim, Karamoja. Let's see that one.
Ogira. I am a model farmer in Abim district. My village here is called Arangetoi West. Arangetoi Parish, Abuk Town Council, Abim district in Karamoja. The mango trees you are seeing here were given to me by the president through Operation Wealth Creation. I received 200 mango seedlings and I planted all, and they are all doing well. Apart from this venture, I got money from PDM last year. I got 880,000. And I used 800,000 for buying 10 goats. And the goats are there. They have multiplied. They are now 16. Part of the money of PDM I used for buying cassava stems. Through that money, I've managed to plant 2 acres of cassava. They are now doing well. The first acre, I intend to harvest next year in January. Then for the mangoes, you are seeing, I started harvesting last year in 2023. The first harvest, I got 6 million. That was in June. Then second harvest in November, I got another 6 million. So last year, from these mangoes, I got 12 million shillings. I've been selling to the people around. Actually, Soroti Fruit Factory has booked this mango. They want me to take these mangoes tomorrow, 2025, to the factory. Actually, I've been selling locally. I've been selling 1 at 500 shillings, 2 1,000. And people are buying. These mangoes are very good. The mangoes trees we are seeing here are giving me money, a lot of money. And I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Kaguta Museveni, for coming up with the idea of Operation Wealth Creation in the country. This is money. I am not going to suffer. My children will not suffer because of this wealth. I call it wealth now. I always harvest. I don't harvest mango. I harvest money, not mangoes. So I want to thank our president so much. And next year, if all goes well, I expect to get 18 million first harvest. And then second harvest, I also expect to get 18 million.
So now there, you have another Magaga in Karamoja. Because you remember Magaga, the father of General Kavuma, told me that he did not know what to do with the money. Since Girenta, since in Shoveide, every 15 days I get money. Now here you have got this man from Abim saying that I'm not going to suffer, my family will not suffer, bye-bye to poverty. He's here speaking in English, and he speaks very clear English. That's why I like that video. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. Because the question was, once we started preaching, stop working for the stomach only, work for the stomach and the pocket. Some of the communities, in the cattle corridor, they didn't ask for capital. They moved without capital. They used their own capital. The only thing we gave them was advice. But in the other areas, they didn't have the indigenous, because for them they had indigenous cows, they converted them and they got capital, many of them. But in other areas, it was not so easy. So that's why we started with the Entandikwa and NADS and Operation Wealth Creation and now PDM. But this is for the smaller people. The question is now, how about the big farmers and the manufacturers? Yes, we have not forgotten those. With the big farmers and the manufacturers, the government has put a total of Uganda shillings 1,600 billion in the UDB. The interest rate for that money is 12% per annum. The interest rate for PDM is 6% per annum and payable after 2 years. Hence, for shillings 1 million, the borrower will return shillings 1.2 million for PDM. We are always creating other funds for the ghettos, for the musicians, etc. So capital is not a problem. Unlike the colonial agents who never want to plan for Africa, we have told Ugandans that our economy has got potential in 4 sectors. Services, commercial agriculture, manufacturing, and ICT. The president is here. Parliament is here. Once people have woken up from sleep and they want low-cost capital, if the shillings 100 million per parish per annum or any other fund is not enough, we can increase the money by adjusting from other areas. With the cattle corridor, we did not wait for low-interest capital. As already said, our only contribution to them was the word. In the cattle corridor, the work there was echigambo, like the one with the Bible. In the beginning, there was the word. The word was God. There we just used the word. In the other areas, we use the word and the capital is there. Small capital for small things, big capital for big things. The advice was to go from nomadism to sedentary agriculture, to go from Okore Chida Chonka to working for the stomach and for the pocket, and do so with the Chibaro. Additionally, in the cattle corridor, I gave 20 milk coolers that had been brought by Danida. That was all. They converted their indigenous Ankole cattle into half-breeds, Ebiwa with Frisians, and they took off. However, wealth creation cannot take place if there is no peace, no law and order, and supportive infrastructure in the country. The UPDF always guarantees peace in the country. The police and judiciary must ensure law and order. The NRM has struggled to tarmac, so with infrastructure, our scorecard is clear and must not be allowed to be spoiled. The NRM has struggled to tarmac the core national roads from north at Oraba, Aru, Nimre, and Musingo in the north. These are all linked by tarmac roads. Then the tarmac roads continuous from the north through the Kampala area to Kachitumba, Katuna, Chanka, and Bunagana in the south. The mistake has been by the Ministry of Works to allow these roads to deteriorate, and then we start to doing heavy work afterwards. The new ministers must ensure, I don't want to see what happened to some of the roads like the Fort Portal Road. But there's a story about that Fort Portal Road. There's a story of corruption in that road. I hope the new team will deal with that issue. We have tarmacked the road from east to west, from Busia, Ruahaha, Swam, Amdat, all the way to Mpondwe, Busunga, and Ishasha in the west. This does not include the tarmac roads linking to the water bodies that are also transport connections, such as Jinja. Because when you have the tarmac road up to Jinja, you go into the water, you cross by ferry to Mwanza, to Kisumu, wherever you want to go. Majanji, Port Bell, Butiaba, Kaisotonya, Bukakata, there are tarmac roads going up to these water bodies. We are revamping the meter gauge railway and building the standard gauge one. We are working with Kenya and Tanzania on the pipelines for the crude petroleum products and for the refined petroleum products. This will move cargo, heavy cargo, away from the roads to the railway, and petroleum products from the roads to the pipeline. In the coming years, we will no longer see tankers on the road, petrol tankers. They should not be on the road. Petrol should go by pipe. Should not be competing with the cars. That leaves the roads for only passengers and light cargo. The Maram roads must be maintained always. Where is the 3 billion shillings per district, which we send, cham, they just eat it. If it is not enough, why not bring up the matter? You, the members of parliament, if you think that the 3 billion per district is not enough, bring it up. And we cut money from somewhere and we make sure the roads are worked on. Instead of just keeping it quiet, and you find the Maram road from Lira to my village in Barregi, it was terrible. It was very bad. It had not been maintained for a long time. Therefore, the NRM has identified all the requirements for building a prosperous Uganda. The NRM has also provided for the means for individuals, families, or companies that want to be part of the socio-economic transformation story. As I've said before, our mission has been to ensure that the individuals, the families, or the companies that listen to our message are assisted to be wealth and jobs creators. Right. And jobs creators. Right from the beginning, we realized that the internal factors are crucial. India, with 1.4 billion people, be looking for external markets. Hence, ever since the 1960s, we have been having a Pan-African agenda on top of the patriotic agenda within Uganda. The Pan-African agenda parts of Africa that are compatible would deal with the strategic security of Africa, especially defense on land, in the air. Therefore, for the wealth creators of Uganda, most of the factors are in place. House to house, ought be ought in our Luo language. Ensure that Enjukunju, for the families with the land, they get into the money economy with the Chibaro. The ones without land, their solution is a myoga, skills. Indeed, we also need to know that with increasing population it will be neither possible nor necessary for everybody to have land. That is why there are other sectors, manufacturing, artisanship, services, ICT, e.g. transport, entertainment, ICT, e.g. BPOs. In the developed countries, very few people own land. I saw in the Negative Monitor newspaper an article by an individual known as Gawaya Tegule, who is always writing mendaciously and maliciously, saying that Uganda has been wandering in the desert for 40 years, like the children of Israel. Those who are wandering in the desert are partly those who listen to those liars. If you listen to the liars, you will wander in the desert. It is true that many of the leaders do not amplify this message of how people can get out of poverty. However, those who do change their lives. I understand Gawaya comes from Bugwere area. Let him visit Mama Nabutono and her husband, Obuko Diseru Kasasera Ward, Kasasera Town Council. Let's see Mama Nabutono if you have her.
Amalina gange ninze Loda Benedict Bakulubanywa nga nzoera mu zone gye beeta Bukoda Paris bageta Kasasira Ward Kasasira Town Council Kibuku County Kibuku District tandikira ka project ka isuno mukyala wange Nautono Florence kakulisha embizi mu mwaka 1993 embizi kindwalishanga ginu eja bulijjo local breed tugirisire mpola nenge ndishera atini ya mulembe tugirisha isubi tugirisha ku muwogo na maolu program ya PDM ya izire akati yao kabaina ba advisor aba external field extension workers ngani omwamubola yalambulanga aka project ka isake embizi atwangu magezi nte project eno mujongera magezi omaiseyo mufune embizi eja mulembe
ena funire esete ja Paris Modern Banka na emtwale ke damu nana nagise na giongeiro omkapito yange nkaire embizi gideja loko ni ngule embizi enzungu ni tandika ogirabirira ni gibyala omumbizi ejo eja byaire ni ntunda bana ni ko banti tinakomanu ni ngulamu esekoko jona ndikulisya esente gindi ni nkozesa efizi okubana.
You know, when they are speaking Rugwele, they speak Nyankore in their own way, but I can for everything. So they had some local pigs before, but when PDM came, they bought the modern ones. The Rugwele, they speak Nyankore, also mix it with the Nyarwanda. Kubyara is the Nyarwanda or what? No, Nyarwanda is a bit different. So now they have pigs. They have also sekoko. I didn't know anything about sekoko myself. They're the ones who exposed me. So once the people get capital, they will do their own things, like Nabutono there. Uganda has gone through 5 phases of positive development. These are the recovery phase of bringing back some of the 3 C's and 3 T's of the colonial enclave economy and ending the informalization of the economy into Magendo, Chibanda, and Kusamala. That was smuggling, forex black market, and speculation. Following the destruction of the economy by Idi Amin, expanding the enclave economy, diversifying it. That is how the dairy sector changed the cattle corridor, and the cassava is changing in many parts of Uganda. These are totally new cash products. Very addition to some of the raw materials, e.g. gold, and the knowledge economy of the automobiles, vaccines, computers, etc. What is high-sounding sloganeering there? Because that's what the other gentleman was saying, that's just slogans. These are achievements on the ground. Let's go to nearby Mbari Industrial Park. Show us the industrial park. Mbari. How can you call that a slogan? Is that a slogan? That is sloganeering. I think now they were saying there were like more than 80 factories there, 12,000 workers in that area. These are achievements on the ground. Let Gawaya go to nearby Mbari Industrial Park. How can such a park be a desert where there is no water or peace or production? Yes, there are problems of the issues like drugs in health centers. That is why, another time I will talk more about this, the issue of service delivery. That is why the NRM introduced democracy from the very beginning by getting people to elect the committees of the resistance councils, especially in the Bukit area. FOBA, the group of who are saying they were following Obote, started killing those elected leaders until we crushed FOBA. Elect people who help in exposing those mistakes. You have the power. Another time I'll speak about that, because the parishes are in Uganda, and everywhere there is local leadership, especially at the sub-county, and there are councillors. Why should things go wrong when all those leaders are there? Of course, even the government was also responsible, because they are the GISOs in every sub-county. Why would things go wrong and the GISO doesn't know? And the DISO. The facts of the matter are that with the limited waking up, where 67% of the homesteads as compared to 9%, because in 1962, only 9% of the people were in the money economy. Only 9%. When I checked in 2013, only 32% were in the money economy. But as we speak now, 67% of the homesteads are in the money economy. And Uganda has graduated from the least developed countries to a lower middle income country. Our GDP rose from 3.9 billion in 1986 to now 69.3 billion by Forex exchange method, and 197.1 billion by the PPP method. The GDP per capita has risen to US dollars 1,278 1.4 billion liters from 200 million liters in 1986. Fish, 727,000. Coffee, 9.3 million 60 kilogram bags from 2 million bags in 1986. 76,000 metric tons of cocoa. Cement, from about 5,000 tons to 7 million metric tons of cement. Maize, from 200,000 to 5 million metric tons. Bananas, from 6.6 million to 11 million metric tons. Cassava, from 3.5 million to 4.5 million metric tons. Sugar, from 150,000 to 700,000 metric tons. We are now set for further and faster growth and transformation. With electricity, we have moved from 60 megawatts in 1986 to now 2,098 megawatts. We are, however, aiming at 50,000 megawatts from hydro, solar, gas, wind, nuclear, and geothermal. Therefore, all the leaders must ensure that those programs are downloaded in their respective areas. In the next 5 years, all the households with land must get the low interest capital in the form of PDM. You, the leaders, you must ensure this. You must go up to the parish levels. You may not visit every parish, but you call the parish chiefs at the constituency level and make sure they do their work. If they don't do their work, we shall sack all of them. There's already 557 million in the parish. I was saying 800 million in the other address, but there's now because when the PDM started, initially they sent less than 100 million per year. So they are now saying the money which is in the parish, including the one of payback, is 557 million in the parish. And it has reached 3.7 million households. We are going to put shillings 100 million plus 15 million for the leaders per annum per parish in the rural areas, and shillings 300 million plus 15 million for the leaders per ward in the towns. Uganda shilling 760 billion has gone for the Myoga, operating from the constituency level. Where is that money? How many and which Myoga associations have benefited from this money? There's one of the young people who was involved with the Myoga money. Fortunately, he was elected as a member of parliament for Kasanda area. Bisaso, is Bisaso here? Where is Bisaso? Oh, I'm not allowed to, because I'm not allowed to speak, to say anything, and the other people are not supposed to stand up or walk or what. Is Bisaso here? Ah, that's how Bisaso looks like. He knows about Myoga, that man. Thank you. On account of peace, some traders have generated a lot of capital through imports. These are the ones that built arcades, real estate. There's a young lady called Nanteza that is always showcasing on UBC the different real estate developers. Can we see Nanteza? If you have captured her. She's always showing how rich people are. Let her speak also. Where is she? You have suppressed her. Those are all real estate built by your people. Where is Nantes? You suppressed her. I'm not Nantes or Nadako. Because I've been watching her show every Sunday. She's always showing. So, there's poverty in Uganda, but there's also wealth, because those are Ugandans. Those are Ugandans. A Ugandan returnee from abroad was recently trying to buy a flat in the Kampala area, and they were demanding US dollars 1.2 million. A Ugandan who was come from outside came back. You know, when people are outside, they think that Uganda is in poverty. So this Ugandan came back, was looking for a flat, and the flats were selling at $1.2 million. And as she was trying to mobilize the money, the resident Ugandans had bought all the flats. Only when she came back, they said, sorry, all the flats are sold. She was amazed that me, the diaspora, I don't have money. These Ugandans, the stayees, have a lot of money. She was amazed at how rich some of the Ugandans are. The middle class is coming up. The question is, what sort of middle class are we witnessing coming up? Are they the comprador bourgeoisie that are agents of foreign interests, or importers, commission agents, etc., or are they the national bourgeoisie that build the capacity of the country through being big or small farmers, manufacturers, service providers, and ICT operators? Let us therefore move. No more sleep, no more Kongora, no more corruption, no more kugumaza, no more politeness towards non-performers. This one, it is actually, I have been polite enough. I don't kuemura people. All the non-performers must leave leadership. Leadership is not for ego, but for people and country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exos area, I have 9 villages with 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. Let me see my Exos areas, if you have got some.
Manya gange nzerule John ni musajja mulimi nundayo ni manyo kusinga ni manye mwanyi ni makasoli ebitoke naranisa n'okulima ennyaanya naye njala kwebaza nnyo President Museveni kubanga yasanga tetumanyi kyakukola. Kusooka nga ettaka lyaffe lyerisinga obulungi wano mu district y'e Gombo naye ettaka lyonna nga mbizi za musiko muzisula. President bwe yatuweereza abatusomesa ne batuyigiriza engeri gy'osobola okulima emmere bwe twava mu mmere kati abaasooka okulabuka ate kakati tuli basajja bagagga. So ekitiibwa kyonna kyonna kitiibwa President Museveni. Okusooka byonna President yampa ebitooke nalima yika 5 ebitooke ebyo nafuna nakuŋŋanya miliyoni 27 mu bitooke. Endala ezaweerera abaana ze nalya nali sizibala naye buli nafunanga katugeze miliyoni emu nga nteekako emitwalo nga 3 oba 5 nesevinga miliyoni 27. Kakati mu season ewedde emwanyi zokka nga nzigyeko ze nateekamu kubanga nze ebiseera ebisinga sibala zentaddemu saagala kuzibala. Njagala bwe mmala nze njagala okukubuulira ge magoba nafuna miliyoni 15 nenyongerako season eyo ey'emmwanyi nenzimba ennyumba yali ya miliyoni 93 nenjizimba era naawe weeri nagulawo buguzi nagulawo miliyoni 9 waliwo yikemu n'ekitundu. Nina abaana 6 bonna bali ku ssomero kati ekyo nakyo magoba nguzeeko ebibanja kubanga fe abalimi obudde bwona gwolowooza mu kulima kati bukaseera wobeera ekifo kiba tekikumala kirala nengulamu mulo motoka nagigula miliyoni 48 ebirala nunzeeko ninayo obute butono ate ninayo n'obubuzi bwange neera nabwo buva mu mwanyi President zampadde. Naye tulina ebitusomooza. Ekisooka emwanyi zino zirina akawuka tusobola okulagako nga bino kubanga abatuyigiriza abalimisa batugamba ogenda obinojjola kugeza nga kino kati okalaba kano kati amakungula ga kano gandibadde nga aga kano.
When I first went to Kisozi in 1990, they were all democratically poor. They had no idea of money. I would go very early in the morning to see my cows, and by 9 they would be sitting in the trading centers on the verandas. Muli mutya banange tuli bulungi. Mukola ki? Tuli awo. They are just there. They are doing what? Tuli awo. Esente muzijjawa. Ate munange tuziraba. Money is not seen. Mpozo tuwa yaka sente. That's what they would do. They would ask me for money. So, I really started fighting with those people. So please, donate your own money. Now, I'm very glad that initially the homesteads were 1,300, I think. Now they are 2,448. They all are in the money economy. I don't want to be in a parish where there are homes where people are in poverty and they're just contented. I visited a parish in Rubirizi some years ago called Ndangaro. There are 2,500 homesteads. And they were all poor, no money. Very rich area, it's a volcanic area with very, very fertile soil, but the advice what to do. They said, we are all poor here, except one man called Kateva, who had 7 pigs. This is the one who was rich, Kateva. Shana Kateva no mugeiga. Nte inesh aine pulu mshanju. Kana ishakari yo mugeiga muleshana wakari yo mugeiga na wakaba ine pulu mshanju. This is terrible. And you find the leaders, the political leaders, even the church leaders. I started calling with the church leaders. I went to Chikoni, in Tungamo. This is what they call Amajesha. Amakungura, they bring it to God. I saw one woman bringing 1 egg. That he's bringing the 1 egg to God. After 1 year. Walking very, 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 very humble as if she's going to heaven that time. This is terrible. You cannot have people like this. Please, honorable members, allow me to show you that woman of Rubirizi again. That God called what? To himself, the one of Rubirizi.
Amazina mbanyita Tumusime Deserata omutuze wa Rubirizi district ate yimirira ndi omuseri ya Kizurugo nisima president wa Uganda ayatwire PDM nyokuranyine myaka nkaga nina nkantene chinda tongira haka.
Now that's the statement I want you to capture, that she was 64 years that time, but she had never owned anything in her life. You imagine that? What sort of society? And she has got children. Then what? How would the family be? Huh? I showed you the other time Apio. Let's see Apio again. Ovulira.
In resell Banya Ward, Hamach Town Council in Lira District.
Agamu shene me PDM, Ariapirwa Adek.
She got the money for PDM in 2023.
La bong when tutumia pira beru, eno penete dong ya bank.
970,000 and then 30,000 remained in the bank.
Atabino puru karachel ke nyuagi.
She planted maize.
Awilo nyuagi saket sapara beach.
She bought maize 15 sackets.
Well me tutumia pira dek wiario.
30,000 each sacket.
Ate kela te puru por mergena deku dushu puru ekas dek.
She used it, actually she planted it in the 3 acres of land.
Puru tutumia pira beach manula hachele nushu.
Preparing the garden cost her 150 for the 3 acres.
Ado tutumia pira beach.
Weeding cost her 50,000.
Akiru tutumia pira ngwen.
Then spraying cost her 40,000.
Tetunu dokoi kwanyo kelo pasho.
Time for harvest came.
To cut the story of Apio, she had been married for 20 years. And she has got other children, like 18 and so on, teenagers. But she had never handled 1 million shillings in her life. She did not have land. When she got land, when she got the 1 million shillings, she didn't have her own land. She had to go and hire 3 acres from somebody else, grow maize, sell the maize, put some of the money back into agriculture, and then buy those sheep, the ones you saw. When I was there in the campaign, she told me she had now 60 sheep. Then me, I didn't know about sheep. So who buys sheep? She's the one who told me that, no, South Sudanese like sheep, they buy. So these people, our people are really clever people if they are supported. They even know things we don't know. I didn't know sheep, even dreaming in my dream, I can't dream sheep. But for her, she knew that sheep has got a market in South Sudan. Nabutono, I don't know who buys Sekoko, I have no idea. But they know. So what they lack is support. So therefore, I want the Exos model. I don't want to live in a parish where there are poor people. That's what I told them. I want to go to heaven. I don't want the angels to block me, say you are an Exosi, you are neighboring poor people, you kept quiet. So I must tell you, I told them. Now you saw the house of Lule. Let's see that man. Show us his house, his coffee. Show us again, the man of Exosi. See the house, see the car, house, car, coffee. That's how they are now. So the leadership is not for ego, but for the people and the country. In agriculture, it is possible to have pan-Ugandan rural transformation. In the Exos area, I have 9 villages, 2,048 homesteads now. As of today, all the 2,048 homesteads have joined the money economy with coffee, bananas, dairy farming, goat rearing, and poultry. You didn't show my manager of Exosi, Narwanga. Don't you have her picture? I've got a girl whom I educated from P2. She went to Tundeji, now she's the one managing. Narwanga, these people don't like my useful people. Narwanga tebamwagala bano. In the cattle corridor, most of the original families have joined the money economy through the dairy economy. In order to stabilize agriculture, we are addressing the issue of irrigation. Apart from the big irrigation schemes such as Mobuku, Doho, etc., we are developing many micro solar powered irrigation schemes, working with the British group known as Nexus Green. As we speak, they have worked with the government to put solar powered irrigation schemes in Angola, Serere, Bukedea, Amoratar, Kwanya, Apache, Kasanda, Masaka, Mukono. Those are some of the irrigation schemes. In conclusion, however, the two residual problems with the peasantry are, as I pointed out above, some of them still relying on oxetura, free range, which underutilizes the land. A square mile of well-cleared farm, no bushes, no mtete, no shrubs, no acacia, will cater for 300 longhorn cattle, including the calves. With pasture growing and zero grazing, a square mile will cater for 6,000 cattle. 6,000 cattle can be fed by a square mile of where you grow the pasture. With free range, you need 3 acres for 1 cow. With zero grazing, 1 acre can support 8 Frisian cattle and 12 Ankole ones. We are aggressively sensitizing them on this. The other residual issue is the primitivity of poverty fragmentation in the form of inheritance after the head of the family has died. These recent arrivals from poverty need to be sensitized about family companies instead of individual inheritance. With these measures and those earlier mentioned, we shall have massive production and will also create jobs for hundreds of millions of Ugandans and the Africans from the neighboring countries. All this is before you add manufacturing, services, and ICT. In this speech, I've spent more time on agriculture. It's not because I don't know, I'm not aware of the other sectors. But this is where many of our people can all move more easily. This is why I'm emphasizing it, especially for you, the new members of parliament. Now, in conclusion, the main problem I have seen in all these 65 years, when I have been active, it has been obutamanya, ignorance, and okwenyoma. Africans underrate themselves. They like what other people do. They don't know how useful what they do is. Our friend Basangwa, show them Basangwa again.
Basangwa Johnson, Managing Director wa Jaka Poultry Farm. Jaka Poultry Farm eyaganibwa Bukwenge, Kamuli Municipality, Kamuli District. Mu 2007 twatandika obulunzi nga tutandikira mu Kamuli Town Council by then mu plot yali 50 feet by 100 feet. There's a foot ya 5 ku 10 eda itaka. Tutandika tutya twali nga tulina ebyobufuzi wano mu Kamuli nga waliwo ensonga nga chairman wero C5 omugenzi Kawuga bamwidukira Katonda mu ekyumulo eky'emirembe nga bamutoyiremu abantu bangi abatamu application nga bali kwenda okufuuka ba chairman ba 5 ayi president yaida yatulungamya yakuba tibana abantu mwena mwena temusobola kuba ba chairman ba 5 aye abantu mujje mukola emirimu egindi ng'okulunda yayogera kulunda embidi okulunda enkoko byonna yabyogerako nze napikinga mu ekyokulunda enkoko n'atandika efaamu mu 2007 n'enkoko 5 saawa dino wendogerera ku faamu kuno tize mabega ntambwire president yaida yankyalira mu 2010 nga nina enkoko 5,000 yasanuka ino saawa dino tutambwire tulina enkoko 1,000 tufulumya amagi etule 2,000 buli lunaku etule 2,000 divaamu miliyoni 2 buli lunaku omwezi diba miliyoni 6 omwaka tuba tuli mu biliyoni ze 6 n'ekitundu etuba tukolaki tuyingiza so tuwulirisa omulamwa gwa president okuva ku kiseera ekyo twakati katukigiireko president awaire musanufu ino ku bintu byenkoze era nga buli kaseera nkyekingako wendogera kati tulina abakozi 300.
Now, that is the story of Basangwa, how he listened to my message in 2007 and started with a small plot for poultry and eggs. He's now selling 2,000 trays per day, earning 20 million shillings a day. Now, during the campaign or one of those times, I was showing these pictures, these videos. People in UK, Ugandans in diaspora, were watching. They watch, even the ones who are in the diaspora. So when they saw me showing Basangwa earning 20 million shillings a day, they say, Museveni alimba. Museveni is telling lies. How can anybody in Uganda earn 20 million shillings a day? Let's go and see. People came from UK to come and see. They say this picture, which Museveni showed, was taken somewhere else. It's not in Uganda. So they came. Ugandans from UK, they came to check the lie of Museveni. How can Ugandans earn 20 million shillings a day? For Uganda, how can somebody earn 20 million shillings a day? So they came. And they visited Basangwa. They were shocked to know that what I was saying was actually true. Now, they have actually invited Basangwa to go and become a lecturer there in the diaspora, to go and visit them. He came and told me, say, they have invited me, the diaspora have invited me. They didn't believe. This is where the problem is. And when we were talking about these things at Ntare in the school in the 1960s, they said, Museveni is a communist. He's not. They didn't believe. They didn't believe that Ankole cattle were useful. They were teaching in the school that Ankole cows are neither good for meat nor for milk. Really, but I grew with the cows. I said, go to hell. I will never live with the Ankole cows. You want to see them, you show them my cows. Mazreba. How can people? Now these are the most precious cows. The other day Ramaphosa sold one of our cows for 200 million shillings, 187 million. So this is what I have seen. I think the main problem is ignorance and okwenyoma, not having confidence in oneself. I think this is really the main problem. To find people going to work in Dubai, what are you going to do in Dubai? A desert. Dubai. What are you going to do in Dubai? When I go there, I pray that I come back quickly. The temperature, the climate, the what. You live paradise here. This is paradise. You go to work in those places. It is inferiority complex, ignorance, poor leadership, uprooted. People have no roots. I am rooted here. My roots are here. There is nothing I don't know. I grew with our culture. I'm able to know what should be forgotten because it was not scientific enough, but much of it is correct and can be updated. So with these few words, I present the government's legislative program to the Parliament. It is in Annex 1 here, no, Annex 2. There are so many bills which Prime Minister will present Parliament, the ministers will present the bill for building substances, the small arms, light weapons control, amendment of universities and other tertiary institutions, and so there are so many of them here. The laws I will present, my ministers will present to Parliament. There are so many. 38 of them, 38 bills which will be presented. Right Honorable Speaker, I present.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please accept our appreciation for your clear and concise exposition of government policy in your address on the state of the nation. The government's legislative agenda, as contained in your address, will be prioritized pursuant to Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, as and when the front bench introduces them, and I think the Right Honourable Prime Minister, in our first business committee meeting, you will ably do that. Honourable members, today's address by His Excellency will not elicit any comment or question, as per Rule 10, Sub-Rule 4A of the Rules of Procedure. However, at a later date during the session, in consultation with the Business Committee, debate on the President's address on the state of the nation will be scheduled in line with Rule 26(1) of the Rules of Procedure. Honourable members, as you may already be aware, on Thursday, 11th of June 2026, His Excellency the President will deliver the budget speech pursuant to Article 1551 of the Constitution. I therefore urge you all to accordingly take note, and it will take place right here in Kololo Ceremonial Ground at 2 p.m. And I once again want to thank you, Your Excellency, and all dignitaries and invited guests for gracing this function. And my appeal to you all, honorable members of the 12th Parliament, let's stand to be counted, to be the members of Parliament who will sleep no more, to be the members of Parliament who will be remembered for waking up ourselves and waking up our people towards the money economy. We should resolve today to be the generational leaders who do not only listen, but also act on the guidance of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. May God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention.
The anthems